Okay, so when we're looking at multiplication and division, the only rule that you need to remember is when you multiply two of the same things, you get a positive, and when you multiply two different things, you get a negative. So if you have a positive and a negative, and you multiply or divide them, you end up with a negative. If you have a positive and a positive, you get a positive, and if you have a negative and a negative, you get a positive as well. So let's have a look at two of the questions in question 4. We have 3 times negative 5. So in this instance, you have a positive and a negative, right? So that means that we will end up with a negative number. So 3 times 5 is 15, and it is a negative, so it's negative 15. Here we have a negative and a negative. All right, so if we have two of the same, we end up with a positive. So 6 11s are 66. Okay, and it really is that simple. You just need to remember that rule as to whether your number is going to be negative or positive. Now remember, this is the rule for multiplication and division. It is not the rule for addition and subtraction. Okay, we went over that last time. So just make sure that you remember that this is the rule for multiplication and division. So having a look at question 5 here, we're dealing with division, and 14 divided by negative 7. So we've got a positive and a negative, which means that we're going to end up with a negative. So 7 goes into 14 twice, and it's a negative. Okay. M, we have 132 divided by negative 11. Now they're both negative numbers, okay, which means that our answer will be a positive. Remember, if you have two of the same thing, you end up with a positive. If you have different things, you end up with a negative. Okay, so in this instance, we're going to end up with a positive because we have two negatives. So here we have 11 goes into 132 12 times. Okay, and obviously it's a positive, so we don't put a minus sign in front of it. In question 6, we move into order of operations. So here we have 2 times negative 3, all right, which means that 2 times 3 is 6, and it's negative 6. Okay, because we have a positive and a negative. And then we have negative 6 times negative 4, which means that our answer is going to be a positive, because we have two negatives. So negative 6 times negative 4, so 6 times 4 is 24. And that is our answer. Now here, this is a really good question. J, 6J. So we start off with two negatives, so that means our answer will be a positive. So 8 goes into 8 once. Okay. And then 1 divided by negative 1. So here we have a positive and a negative. So obviously we're going to end up with a negative answer. All right. And 1 divided by 1 is 1. And it's a negative. In question 8, okay, it uses a vinculum. Now, a vinculum, as you should all know by now, means divide. Okay, so all this is asking is negative 12 divided by 4. So we have one negative and one positive, which means that our answer is going to be negative. So 4 goes into 12 3 times, and it's a negative number. In question 9, I like this question because it shows you that when you square something, you multiply whatever's inside your square by itself. So in this instance, we have negative 6 times negative 6. All right, 6 times 6 is 36. All right, and it's obviously a positive because we have two of the same things. So therefore, it actually means that negative 6 squared is exactly the same as 6 squared. Okay, they both equal 36. All right.